It's Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, and that new face you see is Blaine Keller, sports editor of the Sumner News, among other Main Street media properties, sitting in for Wade Neely, who is on assignment down in Pulaski today. But we are coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes here on this Top 5 Tuesday, and glad to have you with us for the next couple of hours, talking sports of local, regional, and national importance. Some more so than others, but yeah, we're going to enjoy it.
Preps to pros today.
We are indeed going preps to pros today. Good. Look at you.
I follow the show.
Look at you dropping catchphrases. Yes, we will be going from preps to pros, and we'll probably be doing it all in the same segment. So looking forward to that. Blaine, what's up?
You know, the summer in the life of a high school sports reporter, some days you're working 3 or 4 hours and you feel like, you know, you're knocking everything out. Other weeks like this one right now, you're asked to help out on a daily sports show and you're blocking out a couple more hours. Feels like I'm working full days right now, we just want to make sure the recovery.
We just want to make sure you're working, man. So yeah. No, seriously, I really appreciate you blocking out a couple of hours and coming in with us today, because again, Wade was unavailable. He had a different assignment to take care of, multitasking down there in Pulaski for the Pulaski citizens. So it's nice to have other talent that we can call upon in times like this. So
you can thank me at the end of it. You know, don't thank me now and then I tank the rest of the show.
No, no tanking. We're going to be just fine here. In our second hour, as we typically do on Tuesdays, we'll be visiting with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters. It's summer for him as well. So interesting to see what he's got going on over on campus right now. And in our next segment, we are going to visit with Associated Press women's basketball writer Doug FEINBERG, because there's never a dull moment in women's basketball right now for any number of reasons. But going to catch up with Doug and get his thoughts on a few things. So looking forward to that. We'll also be talking Little Braves. They had an off day yesterday, a much needed off day, and they open up a 3-game series in Baltimore tonight. So we'll see if they can get things going on the right foot with Max on the bump. Also, we'll be talking a little Men's College World Series. The final berth was clinched last night down in Athens, Georgia. Hint, it was not the host team that clinched said berth. We'll be talking a little NHL Stanley Cup as well. It's NFL camps going on, and there's some news coming out of at least one of them for someone who's not there. The U.S. Open starts up Thursday over at Pinehurst. Tee times are out. We'll talk a little bit about who's going off when. And again, we've got Blaine Keller from Sumner County. We'll be talking a little Sumner County high school news. So looking forward to today's show. And again, going from preps to pros. So, Blaine, we've not talked since probably spring fling. I hope you have been able to relax a little bit, but what has been going on with you up in Gallatin? Anything of note other than what we're going to be talking about later in the show? Don't give anything away.
No spoilers there, but with the summer starting, a lot of what happens around here is high school baseball comes to a halt, but the college summer wood bat league full count rhythm gets started. They have just wrapped up their second week, starting their third week in the Prospect League this Tuesday. Things have been a little rough for them, 4-8 through their first 12 games, but the back-to-back Ohio Valley League champions have had success despite slow starts before. There's plenty of local talent on that roster too, so keeping up to date with that. And there's been a lot of racing stuff happening this summer, both IndyCar with Joseph Newgarden winning another Indy 500, And then Josh Berry, Jackson McLaren, two guys in the NASCAR series, both in the Xfinity and the Cup series, both making appearances in the area in the next couple of months. So keeping tabs on that as well.
Okay. That wood bat league is fascinating to me because those guys hit with non-wood during their regular seasons and then come and hit with wood during the summer. What kind of challenges do you see them dealing with in making that transition?
Well, I talked with Josh Carmen, the coach and general manager of the Full Count Rhythm, a lot last summer. And it seemed more like that kind of transition was more a detriment to the pitchers, facing off against guys who maybe are making a bit more contact instead of power. I guess one thing I've noticed, at least this season, is that through that first week, Full Counts pitchers really walked a lot of guys. You bring in some college guys who maybe didn't get a ton of experience during the season. There's going to be some rust. They walked a ton of guys in their 3-3 stretch through the first week. And then it seemed like that second week, they said, let's eliminate the walks altogether, just pitch in the zone. And then you got scores like 7-6, like 21-7, like 10-5. So they were pitching in the zone, but they were getting hit off a lot. So I think right now, Full Counts had a lot of success hitting the ball. It's just the pitching maybe isn't up to speed as it should be a couple weeks into the year.
Okay. Now they play at Drake's Creek?
That's right.
Okay. Well, great. Want to see some wood bat action? Get out to Drake's Creek. They play when?
They play tomorrow, Thursday on the road, I think, Friday and Saturday. So tonight, tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night are all at Drake's Creek Park. So plenty of opportunities to catch them out in Hendersonville.
There you go. And if you're used to high school baseball, that wood bat, that sound of the ball coming off the bat is much more appealing to a baseball fan. So go check that out. It is Top 5 Tuesday. In our final segment of the day, Blaine and I will be giving you in tribute to the College World Series coming up this weekend in Omaha. We'll be giving you our top 5 college baseball players. So stay tuned for that. Right now, we need to give you yesterday's scores, which won't take long, and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Just 2 scores from the rundown yesterday in Major League Baseball action. The Giants walked off the Astros 4-3 with a bit of an interesting call there at the end from the Giants announcer. I think it was in the 10th, a 3-run homer, and they couldn't tell if it was over the wall or not. So a bit of an interesting call in the broadcast. I think I saw that on Awful Announcing this morning. In WNBA action, the Connecticut Sun 89, Indiana Fever 72. As Caitlin Clark's rookie year is still a bit of a struggle, maybe a bit of acclimation period into the pro leagues. Just those 2 scores from Monday in the rundown.
There we go. Today's schedule of local interest, as we mentioned, 5:35 start for Atlanta at Baltimore. You can see it on Bally Sports South at 8:45. Houston continues that series out at San Francisco against the Giants. That can be seen on the MLB network. The Sounds open a 6-game series tonight down at Gwinnett. That's a 6:05 start Central Time. In WNBA action, the Washington Mystics are at the Atlanta Dream. That's a 6:30 tip-off. At 9 o'clock on NBA TV, it's the Minnesota Lynx at the Las Vegas Aces. Also at 9, the Los Angeles Sparks are at the Seattle Storm. And that is your rundown. Brought to you as always by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options. They are available until 6 o'clock. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill in Columbia, bringing you our top story. And we've got a couple of them today. One that we missed Wade and I yesterday, unfortunately, but I think it's still pretty topical. But the other one, haven't seen it officially, but a number of media outlets are saying former Louisiana State baseball coach Paul Manieri will be the next guy in the dugout at South Carolina. The Gamecocks made a move, I guess, after the NCAA regionals. They got rid of Mark Kingston, who had replaced Chad Holbrook, and this is a South Carolina baseball program that expects to win and win a lot. They won, and I'll never forget it, they won the last College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium out in Omaha, and they won the first College World Series in the new facility out there. And they have not been back to Omaha since. So that's not good, particularly when your athletic director is the former baseball coach, Ray Tanner, who commanded both those teams. So out goes Kingston, and apparently in comes Manieri. Now, Manieri retired at LSU after the 2021 season. He's 66 years old. But this move seems to be universally applauded. It's going to be interesting, but just because college sports has changed so much since he stepped out at LSU, I feel like. Blaine,
as a
thoughts?
Rangers fan, does this feel kind of like a Bruce Bochy move? As somebody who had a lot of success, did it at the highest level, stepped away, and then I can't speak for Manieri myself, but maybe there was some itch to get back into it after a couple of years away.
That's an interesting twist, and had not really thought about it like that. You know, maybe you step away for a little bit, maybe you do get the itch, maybe you recharge a little bit. And I mean, the game hadn't changed a whole lot between the lines. Obviously you've got the portal, you've got NIL, that kind of thing. And you know, you see so many folks wanting to get out of college athletics with those two factors, it feels like. So to see somebody wanting to dive back into it with all of that is, you know, a little bit refreshing, but it's I don't know. I mean, you kind of feel like to some degree it's a little bit of a young man's game, and Manieri's not that. But again, I don't think you can discount his knowledge. I don't think you can discount his knowledge, particularly of the Southeastern Conference. And, you know, if he and Tanner get going in the same direction, and maybe that was the case that, you know, with first Holbrook and then Kingston, maybe they weren't. You know, South Carolina, again, is a program that expects to be successful. Paul Manieri is a guy who expects to be successful, obviously. Again, won a national championship at LSU in 2009, took them to the finals in 2017. This is a guy who's had success everywhere he's been, at Notre Dame before that. So I don't guess you can argue with the hire, but I do think it kind of comes a little out of left field for some folks. I didn't really have a feel for what direction they were going to go in, but I wasn't expecting Paul Manieri.
As someone who kind of has to, maybe not has to, but following that situation a little bit after Mark Kingston was, I guess they announced it as parting ways. There was some vying for associate head coach Monty Lee to take that position. Monty Lee is staying on the staff, according to rumors. And one important local tie in all of this is Monty Lee is the main communicator to Liberty Creek senior pitcher and South Carolina signee Gavin King.
Oh, there's always a local connection. Is something that we have found on Main Street Sports today. So yeah, that's going to be good. Now tell me about Gavin King. Is he a graduate now, and has he signed?
Just graduated, signed in, I believe the winter was somewhere around December. We covered that. He's had an interesting road. Started at Pope Prep at about my size. He was not a very big guy, but yeah, he's really built up his velocity. And as you know, he's grown in stature. He's grown in being a very highly touted player, highly touted pitcher. Around his sophomore year, he transferred out of Pope Prep, went to Liberty Creek, struggled a bit there because it was a first-year program at that point. One of the most notable stories from his first season was where he pitched, I think, 5 or 6 no-hit innings, and Liberty Creek no-hits Portland, but loses, I think, 9-3 or 9-6 in the spring. So took his lumps as a junior, was really primed with a new arsenal as a senior, and probably could have led Liberty Creek to a successful run in the 2A postseason had he not suffered a torn ligament in his elbow in the preseason against White House, and had to undergo Tommy John surgery before the season got underway.
So there's a lot of question marks then, especially with a new coach coming in and him dealing with injury and that kind of thing. That I would say perhaps your summer just got a little busier, Blaine.
Well, I talked to Gavin during the spring, a little after he had his surgery and he had started working out for the first time, said he felt good. And in conversations with his family after Kingston was let go, this was before Maneri was hired, but it seemed to be that Gavin was still that South Carolina was still going to honor his signing to the school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good to know. That's good because, I mean, that would be a tough situation this late in the recruiting process for an incoming freshman, basically, to not know what's going on with them. To follow up on this, I've just received a text. We will be joined tomorrow by Scott Rabelais of the Baton Rouge Advocate to talk a little bit more about the return of Paul Maneri to the coaching ranks. So be sure and check us out tomorrow as well. But our second top story before we go to a break, Vanderbilt has a national track and field champion, and as longtime Brentwood High School and current Nashville Christian track coach Ronnie Sigenthaler like to remind me, it is track and field, and in this case it's field specifically. Veronica Fraley won the NCAA discus championship out at Eugene over this weekend with a throw of 63.66 meters. I'm going to let that marinate for you for just a second. That equals 208 feet and 10 1/4 inches. So,
wow.
Because, yeah, exactly.
You think you could throw anything that far?
Nothing.
No?
Nothing. There are some people I'd like to throw that far, but no, there is nothing I can throw 200 feet. Nothing at all. I meant to look this up earlier, and I'm going to hopefully do it fairly quickly here. Stay with me just a second. It's going to be worth it when I get here.
Can we get an anchor down while we wait, Mo?
You can go ahead and throw one out there real quick. The boys Class AAA championship discus throw at Spring Fling, which we referenced just a bit ago. Come on. My computer is not cooperating. Here we go. Boys Class AAA discus was won with a 56.18 meter throw, a 184 feet 4-inch throw by Coffee County's Xavier Randolph. So, Miss Fraley outdistanced the Class AAA champion in Tennessee by 24 feet.
According to the Vanderbilt Hustler here, she is one of 3 individual championship winners all time. Gordon Sargent won the men's golf individual title in 2022, and Ryan Tolbert in track and field in 1997.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, Ryan was their first individual champion. So Veronica Fraley becomes Vanderbilt's second NCAA track and field athlete to win a national title, and their third individual period, as you said. So yeah, that's big doings for Miss Fraley. Congratulations to her, absolutely. And she gets a grad student, so I assume that this is how she will be going out. 3 throws over 60 meters in the Nationals. Caps a final season when she was named SEC Field Athlete and Scholar Athlete of the Year, won the SEC Shot Put crown, and was runner-up in the discus at the SEC. So, again, congratulations to her. That's huge. When we come back to Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Speaking of track, we will be joined by track coach Doug FEINBERG, who also covers women's basketball for the Associated Press. So stay with us when we come back to the Lee Company studios after this break.
The wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Superspeedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by Blaine Keller, sitting in for Wade Neely today. Wade should be back tomorrow, hopefully. But, if he's not, Blaine, you available?
Hey, 20 minutes in, I've already booked my second appearance. How about that?
Well, this one's kind of got an asterisk next to it, but yeah, it's always nice to have somebody on standby. We are going to talk a little women's basketball here in this segment, and if you've been keeping up over the past any period of time, basically, there's a name that's really moving the needle in women's basketball right now. And Saturday, the roster started to trickle out. Wasn't announced until later Saturday, but the roster for Team USA in the Olympics was starting to come out, and Caitlin Clark was not on said roster. And again, as Wade and I mentioned yesterday, all hell started to break loose, as does everything involving Caitlin Clark. But I saw this tweet from our next guest Saturday evening, and it really reached out to me. If you can't see our show, it's funny. I believe I'm the only U.S. journalist who has covered every women's basketball game at Olympics since 2008 and World Cup since 2010. There are a lot of bad takes and bad narratives out there today. Hashtag show up before you speak out. With that said, I felt like this guy's got something to say, and I want him to say it for us. So we welcome back Doug FEINBERG of the Associated Press here on Main Street Sports Today. Doug, get it off your chest.
I thought we were talking track. I like the track introduction. Was it the New York State track meet this weekend when all hell broke loose Saturday morning? I woke up to a text saying, "What do you think of the U.S. Olympic team?" I'm like, I'm in Syracuse right now. I just rolled out of bed for a track meet up here. I don't know what you're talking about. Then I had to go back and do it. I'm like, didn't see that coming at 2 a.m. Saturday night or late Friday night. I should say.
Mm-hmm. What, as everybody started to lose their mind about this, Doug, again, you have covered every Olympics since 2008, each of which, by the way, have resulted in a U.S. gold medal. You have covered every World Cup since 2010. How big a deal is it that Caitlin Clark will not be representing Team USA in Paris this summer?
So I think you have to go back to what the U.S. selection committee's job is. It's to put together the best team they can to win a gold medal. And as easy as it sounds to do that, the world's getting better. I think that will have had, by the time they play their first game in Paris, maybe 13 hours of practice time as a team, as the 12 individuals together, which, again, you have the best players in the world. So they're really talented. They're really good. They can get away with it, so to speak. But that's not easy. So the criteria that they have to choose from for putting a team together includes how versatile a player is, leadership ability, experience helps for that. Marketability and popularity. This is not a popularity. It's not the queen of the prom you're voting for here. It's not the popularity contest. It's who's going to help this team win the best. And I think Caitlin's a great player. I think she's going to be on many, many Olympic teams down the road. But think about it. It's a 4-year process to put this team together. 3 years this time because the Olympics were a year delayed because of COVID. But it's a 3-year window they're putting together this team. And there's an offense, there's a defense, and you're asking a 22-year-old kid, if she was on this team, to learn a point guard, I should say, to learn an offense, to get the ball to the players where they can be the most successful to score on the offensive end and defensively guard players in the European style she's never seen before. So those are two huge boxes that Caitlin Clark doesn't check because she's had a chance to play. She's only 22 years old. So I think that's the first thing that was annoying me, that there was a marketability and popularity, the two important things that they should be thinking about. And that's the furthest thing from the mind of a committee trying to put together a gold medal winning team.
I think in all of this that there are two things that are being missed as well, Doug. And Wade and I kind of knocked this around a little bit yesterday. One, Caitlin Clark did not attend the tryouts for the Olympic team. Is that correct?
So they had camps over the 4 years or the 3 years, and they invited her to the one in February. She couldn't make it, obviously, because they're in the middle of the Iowa season. And then they said, hey, if you don't make the Final Four, if Iowa's not in the Final Four, we'd love to have you come to Cleveland and play in the training camp we're having there, the last training camp we're doing before the Olympic team's named. And sure enough, the Final Four and the championship game, so she couldn't make it. And by the way, attending that camp was not if you're not there, you're not on the team. That's another misconception out there that earlier on. You didn't have to be there, but for her, it helped. They could have seen her play against other pros, and she would have learned some things. So it wasn't her fault she wasn't there.
Right.
She wasn't there. She did not attend any of the camps.
Okay. Second thing, how tired is Caitlin Clark after going through the college season that she went through and then rolling almost straight into the WNBA? I mean, isn't she likely experiencing a level of fatigue that this might be a blessing for her not going to the Olympics?
So I'll say I'm tired from covering from the Selection Sunday show through the NCAA tournament. You usually have a little bit of a time between that and the WNBA. That wasn't the case this year. It just kept on going, and stories, which is, by the way, it's great that people are talking about WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. But I said I was tired. I didn't have to travel to games, play games against the best players in the world. The schedule they had was unbelievable. I mean, it was unfortunate, the 11 games in the first 20 days of the season, and they played really good teams, and they were exhausted. I saw them play the last one of that stretch in New York. I think it was a Sunday ago, or I guess maybe 10 days ago now. They were exhausted. I mean, they'd have come off a back-to-back. And that's Caitlin now coming off an unbelievable college season where she had all the pressure on her, breaking the Division I scoring record and getting her team to the championship game. So I can only imagine how tired she is, as all rookies are coming to the league. And it's not the worst thing to have a month off in late July, early August to recharge your batteries and get ready to play and hopefully be playing for something in the last month of the season to try to get a team into the playoffs. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have that month for her to recover, recharge, recoup, and be ready for that stretch run.
Doug, you said that it's not about popularity and brand recognition because you're trying to win a gold medal. So for those that maybe haven't been following the U.S. women's team that's taken gold so many times, what all goes into forming a team that doesn't get a whole lot of preparation beforehand?
So that's a great question. And listen, it's probably the unpopular opinion to say that popularity doesn't matter. And everyone's hot take has been, they should really put her on to help grow the game and grow the interest. And I will get to your question in 1 second, but in a roundabout way, what is funny to me, and I've covered, I said, the Olympics since 2008. To me, the Olympics are more about the non-basketball sports, the ones, the track, the gymnastics, the swimming, that only get that sort of 1 week every 4 years to showcase the best of the best. Whereas you could go to a basketball game any day in the winter for the men or in the summer for the women and see really good players play each other on the court, and it's pretty good talent there. So that popularity, that's why I think it's a little bit of a misnomer. To answer the question, they put the team together. There's a pool that the U.S. starts with, and once the Olympics are over, they put together probably 25, 30 people they think could be on the team, and then they narrow it down over time. It really, I talked to Jen Rosati, who's the selection committee chair, the other day, and it's a 3-year process. They look at every camp. At the camp's done, they talk amongst the committee themselves. They have Cheryl Reeve, the coach, come on for the call and get her thoughts on who was playing well, who wasn't, things she wants to see. Another misconception, the coach has no input at all as far as deciding who's on the team. She can say what she's looking for, but she doesn't choose players. But they try to basically put together a jigsaw puzzle of who can fit well, who's played well, what can give the coach of the team, the system they like to run, the best chance to win. And that's what they've done so well since 1996 when they've won the first of the 7 straight gold medals.
Doug FEINBERG of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Doug, I'm going to run through the roster real quick. Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Diana Taurasi, Chelsea Gray, Nafisa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young, and Kalia Copper. Who do you take off for Caitlin?
That's a really good question. I wouldn't take any of those 12 off. I think that's the best 12 you could have. The other thing I'll say is I don't think Caitlin was next up. If they don't do it by like who's 13, 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
But
they don't do a first out, huh?
It's not the NCAA tournament. There's no the first four out. It's Jen Rosati said to me again, like there are a lot of players, and I didn't ask her name who the players were. It's pretty obvious that checked a bunch of the boxes for their criteria, that had played in the World Cup before, played in the Olympics before, were versatile, leadership, and played in camps. And Caitlin doesn't check any of those boxes. Players like Ariel Atkins, who was on the 2021 Olympic team as well as the World Cup team. Arike Ogunbowale, who's the number 2 leading scorer in the WNBA right now, who's not played on an Olympic team or a World Cup team, is a really, really good player. Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark's teammate, has been to every training camp they've had and didn't make the roster. So there are people out there that, you know, could be on that team before Caitlin if they need an alternate to fill in for somebody. And that's the other misconception that's out there. There's no pecking order of alternates. Not that they go, okay, as you said, first one out, second one out, third one out. If a big needs to be replaced, they're going to replace him with a big. They're not going to replace him with Caitlin Clark. They'll figure what need they need to fill there, and that's what they'll do. The last thing I'll say to you right now on that thing you just mentioned, 5 months ago, if you put that roster together, the story everyone will be talking about probably coming into the Olympics right now, and how I think they will be, is Brittany Griner playing for the U.S. the first time internationally since she was jailed in Russia, and how exciting that is for her to put a USA jersey on, all that she went through. That would be the story that everyone's talking about leading up to Paris in a month, and hopefully I think that's where we're going to head after the Caitlin Clark stuff has sort of died down a bit.
That and the Las Vegas Aces influence on this roster as well, I would think. The Las Vegas Aces, who nobody's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they have 4 players on the team, which is great. I remember years ago they had 4 Minnesota Lynx players on the team. It was Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, Simone Augusta, Sylvia Fowles. If a team doesn't have much practice time, if you have 4 players that play together and know each other well on the court, it helps put them in together because they can run things that they know and be comfortable. And you have that out with Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young, that you have 4 players that are, well, really good players that if things aren't going well, try that lineup and they could probably get you in a pretty good spot.
Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Let's talk some non-Caitlin Clark WNBA, because again, the Aces not necessarily looking like they're in championship form right now. Dropped one to the Sparks over the weekend. Coach got tossed. Little frustration out there in Vegas for Becky Hammond and the young ladies.
We all know how difficult it is to repeat as champion. To three-peat's even harder. They're missing Chelsea Gray right now, the point god, as they call her. That's a huge loss. If you don't have the person who runs your offense, we were talking obviously before about Caitlin and how she hadn't been in the USA system to learn the offense. If you don't have the head of the snake, it's tough for the snake to survive. And that's sort of what the Aces are going through right now. And listen, it's going to help them in the long run. Jackie Young has had a phenomenal start to the season. Asia Wilson is picked up where she left off, if not playing better, and is putting up her MVP candidacy early right now. I mean, she's, I think, scored over 20 points in every game. She's rebounding. She's blocking shots. She has steals. I mean, she's been phenomenal. They're just missing 1 or 2 players right now that they need to get these wins. They'll be fine. Once everyone's healthy, they'll be fine. They probably won't be the 1 seed maybe, but they'll be okay. They'll be one of the best teams, and they'll probably be the favorites still to win the championship.
And they won't take any motivation from not being the number 1 seed either, will they?
No, they don't take motivation from anything, right? They're just even keel.
Just go play.
As it is. Yeah.
The other Iowa Hawkeye that's in the WNBA right now is, speaking of the Aces, doing some pretty good stuff as well.
Kate Martin, tremendous. What a great story that is. She went to the draft to support Caitlin. sits in the audience and gets her name called, and you're drafted. And like everyone was happy for her. And she has fit in so well there in Vegas. She's probably the most liked player on that team by her teammates and the fans because she plays so hard. She's the glue. She got her first start the other night. They lost the game, but it wasn't for her lack of ability. I think she had double the figures in scoring. She's great. I saw on Twitter, I want to credit the right person who said this out there, but I don't remember the name. But I think they started calling her fans the Martinis, which I thought was really cute. So, like, she's just really, I mean, they loved her at Iowa. They love her in Vegas. She is the consummate team player who is going to be a great coach when her playing career is all finished. That's what she wants to do when she's done playing. Man, she is fun to watch, and everybody says great things about her.
Doug, any thoughts on Kate's comment the other day about Asia Wilson saying sitting next to the best player in the world, best teammate in the presser afterward?
Smart kid. She is right now the best player in the world, the way she's playing. I mean, consistency. She does everything, both ends of the court. I mean, she lost the MVP last year by a hair, by like a vote or two, which could have gone either way. And it doesn't take away from Breanna Stewart or Alyssa Thomas. Any of those three could have been MVP, and you wouldn't have gone wrong. I think that Asia, as I said, raised her game to another level. And listen, Kate's smart. The one sitting next to you is the best player. You say she's the best player, and she is the best player. So another smart move by the rookie, so to speak. But just Asia's been phenomenal. And really, I mean, I've been impressed with her ever since she came into the pros, but she's really raised her game to another level so far this early part of the season.
Doug, what team, what player should we be talking about in the WNBA right now that we're not?
I think Minnesota Lynx is probably the team that's played really well to start the season. I mean, Nafisa Collier is another one who's been raised her game, Olympian, as you mentioned, who is probably in the short list for MVP candidates right now. I mean, if Vegas continues on their 500 level path, it may be tough for Asia to win MVP just because if you're 500, another team comes in first and is whatever, 30-10, and they have a player like Nafisa Collier, you probably have to look that way to vote. But she's been fantastic. She obviously had the baby a couple years ago, and she's back healthy and ready to go and back in prime form. She's really, really good. So that's probably a player and a team that people aren't probably talking as much about as they should right now, but she's been great. And the other thing I'll say is, I mean, listen, we talked Caitlin Clark for a while right now. This is a really great rookie class. Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin. Angel Reese has been playing really, really well. Cam Brink in LA has been playing really well. Rakia Jackson, Alyssa Pilley. I mean, there have been some really great rookies that have helped bring everybody up here. It's not just the Caitlin Clark show, although everyone likes to say it, and she deserves every flower she's gotten so far. But other players, other rookies have really done a great job so far this season.
Would it be a shock if anybody other than Caitlin Clark is Rookie of the Year?
That's a great question. Shock? Surprise, I'd say. I wouldn't say shock because of the numbers that they're putting up. I mean, Angel Reese has got almost a double-double a game, which is phenomenal. Cam Brink is number 2 in blocks on the defensive end. She might win Defensive Player of the Year if Asia Wilson doesn't. Listen, Caitlin's the favorite coming in. Name recognition helps. Caitlin's had a good year so far stat-wise. Everyone thought she'd drop in 30 a game, which wasn't realistic. But she's averaging, I think, 16 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. Those are really good numbers. Mm-hmm. They're not what you're used to seeing out of her from college, but she's done nothing wrong to sort of not win Rookie of the Year. I think the other players have surprised a little bit how well they've played early in the season.
Is that the biggest issue around Caitlin, Doug, that everybody expected this to be Iowa 2.0 for her?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, people asked me before the season, what do you think she's going to do this year? I said, listen, if she averages 20 points, that's a really good season. I thought there'd be adjustment time. It's the ball's in her hands a lot, obviously. She gets the shots she wants. I think there was unreal expectations of what people, and I'm talking the new fans of WNBA, not the ones that have been around for a while, thought she was going to do and could do. I think she's probably a little bit under points right now. I think that will go up as the season goes on. But, yeah, I mean, listen, she's selling out arenas. They have the highest attendance in 26 years. The TV numbers have been through the roof. It's record ratings everywhere she plays. And also games she's not involved in are great ratings for the WNBA, which I think is important to note that people aren't just watching her, they're watching the whole league.
Doug FEINBERG of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Doug, we appreciate it. How did the track meet go this weekend?
Yeah, big question right there.
So it wasn't as good as the Vandy kid, because that's really impressive numbers. I had 2 kids compete, and they were great. We had one girl who was a triple jump hurdler. She came in 5th in the state in the triple jump, which I thought was fantastic. And she actually, I don't know how great track knowledge you guys are. She cut 0.5 off her 100-meter hurdle time, which is unbelievable. I mean, you usually try to PR by like maybe 0.1 or 0.2. She cut 0.5 off, breaking the 15-second barrier for the first time, and doing it in back-to-back races. So that was great. And the other girl was a senior who's going to Howard next year. She actually had a tough race in the 400 because of the conditions, but came back and ran the 200 and made the final. So great way to end her high school career. So I was really proud of both of them.
That's awesome. Track and field, as I have to remind myself. But yeah, Doug, we appreciate you spending some time with us today and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, we're going to talk a little Major League Baseball, one team in particular, as we do about this time every day. So come on back to the Lee Company studios after this.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
June 11, 2011, Atlanta overcame an early 2-run deficit before scoring 4 runs in the top of the 10th to down host Houston 6-3. Home runs by Eric Hensky and Brian McCann even keyed the victory, as the Braves evened their all-time franchise record at 9,982 wins and 9,982 losses. It marked the first time the franchise's record had been at 500 since 1926, as the team sat 526 games under the break-even mark just 20 years earlier on April 20th, 1991. That was this day in Braves history. I don't know what the all-time franchise record is now, but I feel like it's over 500, despite the way the Braves have looked here of late. But again, hope springs eternal, especially when hope is in the left hand and on the left arm of Max Fried. The Braves open a 3-game series at Baltimore at, is it 5:35 or 6:35? I've got conflicting times on that, but the Braves 35-28 taking on the 43-22 Orioles. Fried 6-2 with a 2.93 ERA going against Albert Suarez. He of the 2-0 1.83 mark for the Orioles. So
I'm getting 535 on that one, Mel.
You're getting 535. Okay, good. Like I said, I might have looked at something that was Eastern and I did not adjust. So 535 here in Nashville, the start time for the Braves and the Orioles to open that 3-game series. Tomorrow it'll be the youngster Spencer Swellenbach, 0-2 with an 8.38 ERA, and Ronaldo Lopez going in Thursday's afternoon matinee to close that series. We had a chance to talk to Chris Harris of the Mississippi Braves on yesterday's show, talk a little bit about these young guys that are coming up and trying to give the Braves some reinforcements on the mound, but no better than the offense has been performing of late. I'm not sure how much it matters who we run out there to pitch, but I'm trying to stay even keeled about a team that is still 7 games over 500 right now going into this series. So, just back away from the ledge. Everything will be fine.
If I can be frank a little bit, Mo, I get my frequent influx of Braves content and reactions from the show, from coworker David Wilson, and from a friend of mine that's a pretty big Braves fanatic, and talking a lot about how things haven't been going so well, and if I may, still 7 games over 500. My World Series champion Rangers are 3 under right now, and it feels like somehow we're on the same playing field when really we're not. I mean, you guys are still at least in the wild card hunt right now. We're Texas is in a bad way, so.
It's all relative. We were just talking to Doug Feinberg about expectations and that kind of thing. And when you've done what the Braves have done over the last 5, 10, 15 years, you just expect more. Not necessarily to roll out there and win, but certainly to put forth a winning effort every time out. And it just hasn't always looked like that was the case. And it's, we've gotten spoiled. There's no way around that. We've gotten spoiled as Braves fans, me, David, the other folks that you're listening to. And so that's why 7 games over 500 on June 11th just doesn't feel like enough. So, we like to feel like we're more capable of that 43-22 that we're going to be seeing across the field tonight. So we'll see how that goes. We do like to talk about our favorite baseball teams. And you mentioned that San Francisco-Houston 10-inning outcome last night. Wade is a huge Astros fan, so we can't have the two of y'all on at the same time being AL West.
I didn't
rivals.
know that until I tuned into the show one time. And, I like Wade for every other reason besides that one. That's one reason to not like him right there.
Well, as a Braves fan, I have my issues with the Astros as well, going way back to Chris Burke, among other things. But yeah, it's tough sometimes. But they dropped a tough one last night, despite getting a really good performance out of Spencer Arrighetti on the bump. 5 2/3 innings, 1 earned run. But like you said, San Francisco walks it off with a 3-run homer. Jose Altuve, Jake Myers had a couple of knocks each. Just a tough end for Houston in that one. They've got Ronel Blanco, he of the early no-hitter, going against Jordan Hicks. So it should be a well-pitched ball game when it starts at 8:45 tonight out on the West Coast. Your Rangers were off yesterday?
They were off yesterday after another tough series against the Giants. Now on the way to face the ill-liked Dodgers in a 3-game set starting at 9:10 tonight, tomorrow 9:10. Looking up probable pitchers right now. Every week it's always different with the Rangers' slew of injuries. But in that first game, Dane Dunning against former Mariner and former Yank James Paxton. Did not know he was a Dodger this season. So that's news to me.
You know how the Dodgers are. They just collect guys.
That's right.
Yeah. Dane Dunning, 4-4 with a 4.09 ERA. I mean, he's thrown pretty well for you guys to this point, relatively speaking. But
relatively is the key word there. Everybody else pretty much gets hurt. So, the good thing about Dane is he stayed healthy this year. So that's a tip in his cap. Yeah, right. Knock on wood.
Don't want to jinx anybody, certainly not on this show. So, hopefully Texas can get things going. Sorry, Wade. No. Ideally, the two of you would have a lot to be excited about, past the All-Star break. But both of y'all, the Rangers and the Astros are both dealing with the same thing, injuries. I mean, Wade and I were discussing it a couple of weeks ago. I think 5 of Houston's top 10 arms coming out of spring training are on the shelf. And you got to be able to pitch it in this game.
You still got Max Scherzer out for the Rangers. Jacob deGrom maybe will return. I mean, we'll see what comes out of that. Kamar Rocker, even. Let's throw out a name from a couple of years ago that's recovering from Tommy John surgery and starting to throw to live hitters. Tyler Mahle of Minnesota Twins fame, also coming off the IL.
Where is Jack Leiter right now for you guys?
Deservedly in the minors. I thought it was too early from the start when they called him up in Detroit, but desperate times called for desperate measures. He was not ready at that point. And it's sad to say that he's still not ready. But that's kind of the fact of the matter with good old Jack. And hopefully, I think ideally at this point now, a couple of years removed from drafting both of those Vandy boys in the first round, you hope that just one of them turns out to be a major league arm, at least in my mind.
Goodness gracious. And I mean, when they were both coming out, they were both can't miss guys, and maybe they won't. It as we have discussed in so many instances regarding professional baseball, and specifically with Jeff Hem, the play-by-play announcer of the Nashville Sounds, rarely is it a linear path from amateur baseball through the minor leagues to the majors. And hardly anybody gets up there and stays up there 15 years or whatever. And, speaking of that, best wishes to former Nashville Sounds pitcher Robert Gasser, who apparently is having some elbow issues, is seeking a third opinion for that, according to Adam McCalvey, who covers the Brewers for MLB.com. But Gasser may be on the shelf for a while as well with an elbow issue for the Brewers. And man, when you see these young guys in particular come through and just burn it up, and then all of a sudden they're out for an extended period of time. I mean, even with all the advances of medicine and surgery and that kind of thing, that's still a career-threatening injury.
You hit a stage at this point in baseball where you have been tasked with throwing as hard as you can. Whether or not pitchers want to say it, you have been tasked with throwing a very high velocity because of how the game has changed a little bit, and that taxes guys like guys who were probably worked a fair bit in college, like Jack Leiter, like Kamar Rocker, and now you're asked to throw a little harder and pitch a little better against some top competition, and then it's tough as is to make a lengthy career in Major League Baseball at the top level. It's even tougher now because of what pitchers are being asked to do, I think.
I think you really hit on something there. I think that's some pretty insightful stuff there, Mr. Keller, and much appreciated as we wind up the first hour of Main Street Sports Today here, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. It is Top 5 Tuesday. In our final segment, Blaine and I will give you our top 5 college baseball players. So stick around for that. When we come back to the Lee Company studios after this break, we will be joined by the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters. Stick around for that as well right after this.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
number 2 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, starts right now. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by special guest host Blaine Keller, sitting in for Wade Neely, who should be back tomorrow, but if he's not, hey, we can roll with Blaine for another day. We'll see how that goes. So
that's about all you can get from me is 2 days.
2 days. You got 2 days, huh?
my motor's 2 days. Then after that, might go down in a blaze of glory. Who knows?
Listen to you. Hey, we are now joined, as we are virtually every Tuesday, except when we're not, by the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters. And I always approach Chip with a little apprehension about his Tuesday appearances over the summer, because I know how much Chip loves to travel, and at some point he's going to hit me with I'm sorry, I'm at the beach, or any number of other things. So we're always happy to have Chip, but especially this time of year.
Well, who has done your show from the beach?
There is
from a beach chair.
Literally from the beach.
Literally from the beach.
Now, I think that was as much a flex as anything else, but we'll take it. Not at the beach today.
No, and really the only thing I've got on the books right now, I don't leave town until a Thursday. It's a long weekend kind of thing next month. So right now we may be in the clear.
Okay. All right. As we've mentioned before on this show, Chip is one of our favorite guests because he sends cheat notes. And one of them today is beam placement ceremony today. I'm going to let you explain that.
We've talked several times on here about the Bill Blue project, the $100 million athletic facility project at Middle Tennessee that, there are 2 pieces of it that are now complete. A third is in the midst of construction. The next phase is in the planning stages. And to kind of give you a little recap, the first piece of this Bill Blue project to be completed was the outdoor tennis facility, which opened February 1st. Okay. That was an $8 million project, 8 outdoor courts, fan amenities, super, super nice, right there at where the old tennis courts were beside Murphy Center. The second piece that was completed, we had the dedication, about 4 weeks ago now, of the Peterson Championship Plaza at Reese Smith Jr. Field. And did you get an opportunity during Spring Fling to see it over at the baseball field?
I saw it from a distance. Unfortunately, I did not actually go down and walk through it and take the time that it deserved to really peruse it. I was kind of on the run getting there for Columbia Academy's Division IIA championship game, and then on the run getting out. But it looked really impressive, and I look forward to getting back over there and spending a little bit more time.
Well, the thing that impressed me the most about it was that it impressed former players who, many of whom made donations toward that project. But and I think it was really neat to have that up prior to those 2 days of state championship games that were held at Reese Smith Jr. Field. But anyway, that was the second one that was completed. Where the big centerpiece of this whole project is the $66 million, 85,000 square foot student athlete performance center, which will be a 3-level building in the north end of the football stadium. And while they have already, you hear a lot about topping out ceremonies, they reached that point a couple of weeks ago and have already put part of the roof on of the building. This was a ceremonial placement of a beam to kind of mark a milestone in the construction project. And today, it was timed as part of a board of trustees meeting today. But Chris Massaro spoke. trustee or director or chairman of the board of trustees, Steve Smith, spoke a little bit today. And I thought what was really interesting is the president of the construction company spoke today and talked about really, how, that there was and I'll say this, there were more people there for a beam placement ceremony than I expected to be there. There were a lot of people, and everybody who was there, I know for a fact, just about had made, some sort of financial commitment toward this overarching Bill Blue project. So it meant something to them to be there. But Bob Surratt with the parent company, who's the general contractor for this, he talked about it took a little bit of a different tack in that, yes, everybody that was there uh, had a level of pride in it, but he said that all of those guys wearing hard hats that are out there every day have a big level of pride in the craftsmanship and the workmanship, and to be able to complete a project on time and under budget that will give Middle a facility that will stand up against anybody in the country. And not only is it is connected to the football stadium, and the football program will move out into this building, but it has aspects that will service all student athletes, like uh, obviously part of the strength and conditioning program. A big part of that is in there. You have nutrition will be in there. A lot of that sports medicine will be in there. So it will touch all 17 sports, and as well as the top floor being a more of a public or social type floor, to where on game days it will turn into what I heard the other day described as an upscale sports bar that you can be at while at the game and be part of that. But you'll be able to book wedding receptions and graduation parties. You'll be able it is an event space that will be available, and you'll be able to overlook Floyd Stadium when it's all said and done. And then that right now is on schedule to be completed midsummer of next year, and to be ready for the 2025 football season. What it allows, Maurice, is that when that happens, all of the football locker room, football equipment, where all that is downstairs, all the football coaches' offices, all of that will come out of Murphy Center, which will then open up space to be reimagined. A big piece of it, where football is leaving downstairs, will go to men's basketball, where they've been in tight quarters for 50 years in Murphy Center. So that they'll be able to move coaches' offices down, have a bigger locker room space, lounge area, all that kind of stuff. And then that even opens up more office space upstairs, to where that can all be reimagined as well. So this is a piece of the puzzle that the SAPC had to be built first to move things out of Murphy Center. Well, the Murphy Center renovation could then take place. Right now, there is, if your folks who have been to Murphy Center, they'll know this as I tell it to you. Two ways you have come into the building before have either been down the ramp by the dumpsters, or up the 1.5 steps from the Greenland Drive parking lot to the track level. That's how you come in, one of those two ways. So part of the Bill Blue project is to redo that entire corner of Murphy Center, where you will walk in at ground level, and it will be very similar to like when you walk into Bridgestone Arena. You walk into a big atrium, big common area, and then you'll take escalators up to the seating areas and things like that. That's what that's going to be like. So you will not have to go up stairs or down a ramp by the loading dock, which the loading dock is being moved over to the south side of the building, and that should be done by the time football season starts or soon thereafter. So there will be a new loading dock, and the dumpsters will go find a new home.
As a guy who pushed many a
Many a cart.
instrument box up
Yeah.
and down that ramp between working for Ed Given in athletic media relations and working on the special events committee for concerts at Murphy Center. That will definitely be different. But to build on that, Chip, you were going through the ripple effect of everything that's taking place in the SAPC, the Student Athlete Performance Center, by the way. But will people know how to act with all that extra room?
You know, it's you know, they've done, you know, without for so long. You know, I have a feeling they'll adjust. No question about that. And then, you know, depending on budgets, the long-term goal in this project is they've kept upping the donation target, and to where you know, the final piece of that, it could make the project even more than $100 million to a little over that. That would include an indoor practice facility that would be part of the current practice fields and would connect to the stadium and the SAPC out there on that what that would be the northeast corner of the football stadium. So that would be the final piece of the puzzle. But right now, that is just in the Sears catalog wish list kind of parts of it. But it is exciting, and I think today was a day to where, you know, you heard a lot of talk for a lot of years about this project, and today was a big milestone of getting to a certain landmark to where almost to the point to where you can say, okay, we're 1 year away from this thing being open. And that's a big deal. And it's a big deal for Coach Derek Mason, because, you know, they can now, instead of taking drawings, they can put hard hats on kids and walk them through a construction zone, or Nick McDevitt or Rick Insel or Jerry Myers or Jeff Breeden can take athletes out there and show them where they're going to be cared for and all of that. So that's a big deal. And it's, you know, and obviously it comes at a time in college athletics when things are kind of, you know, a lot of things are being put on hold. Ole Miss last week announced that all of their construction projects in athletics have been put on hold due to after the Department of Justice came out with their ruling. So, but right now it's full steam ahead. And at a fan event, at one of the Blue Raider Blitz events, if you could really boil it down, where MTSU's leadership is moving forward with all of that in mind, Chris Massaro at two different stops made the statement, "We do not fear the future," and I think that is, you know, that part today is a piece of that confidence when you see a building coming like that. And I can tell you, because I was up in the press box over moving some equipment around or whatever, and now that you see the full shape of this building in the north end zone, and the construction on the video boards in the south end zone and the footprint of those, it really gives the inside of the stadium a different look for when fans get there in August for the home opener against Tennessee Tech.
Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Chip, as you were talking about the ceremony, you mentioned two phrases that are music to a lot of folks' ears, and you don't hear them very often: on time and under budget.
That's right. It was interesting because I was the MC of the event, and I introduced Bob Surratt, and so I think, okay, how do I introduce this guy? So I went to the parent company website, found his bio, and trying to think, do I still have? Yeah, I still have my notes here from today and stuff. I just basically copy and pasted, and it said, this is from their website. Bob is a known innovative leader who's able to bring creative solutions and fresh thinking to the construction process while still completing jobs on time and within budget. So I used their own words against him, and he reiterated that. He said, he said, our goal is to do exactly what Mr. Walters said, and that's to be on time and under budget. So, that is news. That is good news. And it was really, like I said, it was the other thing they did at the end of the ceremony is he was the last guy to speak, and then they took a few pictures around this beam, and you can find it online. But they had it connected to a crane, and we did a little countdown. And when we hit 0, the crane picked up the beam, and after everybody had signed it, and it's a special ceremonial beam that will not actually hold anything, but you'll be able to see it in the strength and conditioning area. But the crane picked up the beam and they moved it over into the superstructure of the building, and the guys over there tacked it up with a couple of welds, and within 5 minutes after it had been picked up, it was welded in place. So that was kind of neat.
On time and under budget will win you a lot of friends in that business, I'm sure.
That's right. That's right.
Purity Sango went out to Eugene. We talked earlier about Veronica Fraley, Vanderbilt's discus champion. Things didn't go quite as well for Purity, unfortunately.
That's right. I mean, she had a great year. Finished in the 19th, I think, in the 10K. In the 10K run in the nation, set a school record in the 10K during the Conference USA event, named an All-American that's one thing about All-Americans in track. It is not voted upon. You earn it by finishing where you do. And so with her, she got that honor. She was Female Athlete of the Year at the Raiders' Choice Awards, and I don't know if that we've ever really talked about this part of Purity's story. She did all of this after having a child 2 years ago. She has a 2-year-old, and worked her way back into shape after having a child. She is a Kenyan native, and came here, ran for 2 years, had a child, finished out her career. She is an All-American in her sport. She has received honors from the conference for her academic work and her overall prowess as a student athlete. But that to me is quite a story in this day and time, because we're seeing more non-traditional students. And while she was on a traditional path, it took a non-traditional turn along the way. But she certainly did not let that deter her from her goals, still becoming a terrific mother, but also finishing out her career. And now she'll have an opportunity to run professionally. And so I don't know what the timing is as far as, potentially being on the Kenyan national team for the Olympics. Not sure how that, what the timing is on that, but she's still young and will have an opportunity, if not in 24, possibly in 28.
Senga ran a 34-31-63 at the NCAA Outdoor Championships for the 10K. She pretty much lapped me after I ran a 10K at the end of spring fling. So
I told Mo that I can barely drive my car 10K in that amount of time.
Especially on that campus.
Yeah. So I mean, she's a really special story. And while her career, she would love to have, capped it off with a national championship, or at least on the podium. She is a 20th century student athlete story, and one that deserves to be told.
Absolutely. Another MTSU track and field athlete recognized earlier today, I guess. Anaya Midget was named a Conference USA Spring Spirit of Service winner.
That's right. They do that 3 times a year, and every university in the conference has a winner of that award. And she is a graduate student in entrepreneurship, and she works She'll start her master's degree program this fall. She is the community service chair for the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and she has volunteered from everything from Earth Day cleanup to the winter care packages for the homeless. She is from Nolensville, competed in 5 meets this year. She was 8th in the Music City Challenge and 14th in the long jump in Conference USA, in the Conference USA outdoor meet. But she is, Anaya Midget is another one of those great stories who, if you've got a little girl who you want to find a nice role model, what she has done in the classroom and what she is continuing to do as a grad student, and not only on the track being successful, but also giving back to her community. And the Conference USA Spirit of Service Award certainly sheds a terrific light on that.
We love to see those Williamson Countyans being recognized. So always good. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Chip, we didn't get to it last week, but kickoffs and television plans have been announced for all but one of MTSU's 2024 football games. Is that correct?
That's correct. The kickoff times and television, you almost have to say television platform these days, because the only game we don't have the TV platform and kickoff time is the Memphis game on September 28th. Outside of that,
and that's at Memphis, right?
It will be at Memphis.
Is that why we don't have it?
I'm not going to go down that path, but I just know that's the only one we don't have. But bottom line is, let me look here. Let's see, two we know are ESPN Plus. That'll be Tennessee Tech on August 31st, Western Kentucky on the 14th.
Both 6 o'clock kicks.
Yep, both 6 o'clock kicks. That is sandwiched around a 3:15 SEC network kickoff in the Grove when Middle goes to Ole Miss. Then you have the Memphis game, which we don't know about yet. Then you have the October midweek games, which are always interesting, and all of those, for every school, those are all on national networks. And so the first two for Middle will be October 10th at Louisiana Tech, home October 15th against Kennesaw State. Both of those will be on CBS Sports Network. And then the Jacksonville State game on the 23rd will be on ESPN2. Follow that up with 2 more on the CBS Sports Network. And that will be at home against UTEP, or at UTEP rather, I should say, on November 2nd. And then Liberty on the 9th of November. And then we can tell you that the Duke game, New Mexico State, and FIU are all going to be part of the ESPN platform. We just do not know which one yet. Those will be decided within the 12-day window prior to kickoff. Could be ESPN Plus, could be the mothership to you, or whatever. So, it wouldn't surprise me if the Duke game ended up on the ACC network, which is also part of the ESPN package. So, but right now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for sure that are on national platforms, with the possibility of 3 or 4 more.
One of those nationally televised games, November 2nd, at UTEP against former Austin Peay coach Scotty Walden.
That's right. Scotty's out there now and making some noise, and that will be at one of my favorite spots to go, at the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. It is it is, if you could take the snow off of the mountains at BYU, you would have what the setting is at UTEP. That stadium is wedged in between some very brown, rocky mountains. It is absolutely gorgeous, and that town is Scotty's going to get them energized out there. And Middle's had some success going to UTEP, and their I will say this, that their level of hospitality when you come to their town is second to none.
Blaine and Austin P graduates.
Yeah,
yep.
Had to tie that in there.
He had to work that in there, but no, we don't have a problem with that. And Chip, is there anything else that we need to get from you before we cut you loose on this Tuesday afternoon?
One thing I just will say that it's my understanding, well, I know for a fact that men's basketball is working out, having workouts. They are also have team camp going on. There's other camps going on. Women's basketball had team camps last week, and that place was covered up with teams. So the Glass House is teams are coming there in the summer, hoping to make a return trip in March. And my plan is, I think Thursday morning is my plan to get over to the rec center and watch the men's team in a couple of workout sessions in groups over there to get a first look at some of the new guys.
Do that and report back.
I will say that all the men's players are here. I think all the women's players are here. The only men's player who's not here is Isam Mustafa, and he has a good excuse. He is right now a part of the Egyptian national team. But Dr. McPhee, the university president, did meet him in Cairo a couple of weeks ago when Dr. McPhee was on a trip to the Middle East with a cultural and educational exchange program. He had an opportunity to meet Isam and his family there in Cairo, Egypt. So that just doesn't happen every day, and it worked out pretty good. So I think Isam has the president saying, you better make sure you show up, because this cat at 6'10", 260, 270 is going to be a major player in the middle in Conference USA basketball this year.
Well, I was wondering, did President McPhee come back with a scouting report? Did he and Nick get together after that, or was there a debriefing?
I debriefed Dr. McPhee on that. He goes, "This guy is large," and in their photos where Dr. McPhee comes up to about the armpit of Isam, who is a thick guy. And matter of fact, when he started his career at Coastal, played
for Cliff Ellis, right?
For Cliff Ellis, exactly. And they played at Middle, and he had a double-double, and he averaged a double-double for 2 years at Coastal before transferring to TCU, and now he's back at Middle. And better to have him than be against him, and better to So we're looking forward to having him and Chris Loof, in the post. I think that's going to be a really formidable combination.
Now, you say he's with the Egyptian national team. Are they getting ready for the Olympics then? Is that what's going on?
I will gain some clarity on that when I go to workouts on Thursday. I'm not sure if this is the national team, or if the national team is the same as the Olympic team. I'm not sure how that all works. Because you here in the U.S. you'll have the Olympic team, but you'll also have a national team that goes to the World Championships or the World University Games or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, get all that sussed out for us and report back to you.
I'll do it.
All right. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. As always, we appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again about this time next week.
Good deal.
All right. When we come back here on Main Street Sports today, it's the grab bag. Check back, see what we pull out after this break from the Lee Company Studios.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Super Speedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Super Speedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by Blaine Keller. At the end of the show, Blaine and I will be giving you our top 5 college baseball players. So stick around for that in the final segment. Right now, getting ready for Omaha. The final piece of the puzzle came together last night as North Carolina State knocked off host Georgia in the pivotal game 3 to seize the 4th berth from the Atlantic Coast Conference, matching the Southeastern Conference's 4 teams. So, as you know, as we talked yesterday to Ryan McGee, he was kind of hopeful of either Oregon or Oregon State getting through just to give the Pac-12 one last hurrah in Omaha, but didn't quite work out that way. So it's going to be a Southern dominated event out at Omaha starting this weekend.
Mo, do you have a pick on who which fan base is going to win the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge?
You know, it's funny. I don't know if you got to see the show yesterday, but that was definitely a topic of discussion between Wade and Ryan and I. And, you know, I don't know because, you know, Ryan had some insider information, I guess, maybe just a little history. And he said Tennessee has not performed particularly well in the shot challenge, I guess maybe in part because they hadn't been there long enough to really make a dent. But
right.
you would like to think that Florida would be a player in this,
fair guess.
but he also said that they've not traditionally done particularly well out there either. So I mean, you're talking about North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida State. Those are the 4 teams that will be in action on Friday. You've got Kentucky. The money might be on Kentucky, especially as a
trip,
first
time to celebrate.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, first trip, I mean, the shots aren't bourbon, but they've got a little experience with that. Kentucky, North Carolina, Texas A&M, and Florida. So I don't know. I think I might have to go Kentucky.
That's where my mind was going. I was going Kentucky there.
I think I might have to go Kentucky, and maybe Tennessee folks will get irritated enough at
and then
Kentucky.
prove you wrong.
There we go. A little reverse psychology there. But yeah, again, it's North Carolina and Virginia in the 1:00 opener out at Omaha on Friday, followed by Tennessee and Florida State at 6. On Saturday, it'll be Kentucky and North Carolina State at 1, and Texas A&M and Florida at 6. And all of those games can be seen on ESPN. I'm glad you asked me my thoughts about the shot challenge and not the baseball, because this thing really feels it feels more wide open than, if you are a Tennessee supporter, it should be, because
I'd agree with that.
Because the national number 1 seed, had to win a game 3 to get out of the super regional. Now, no disrespect to Evansville, but the fact that they didn't take care of business in 2 games kind of just kind of makes you wonder a little bit where they are. And some tough news. I don't think it was impactful necessarily on this roster at this point, but former Franklin High pitching standout AJ Russell will apparently undergo UCL surgery, and he's out now. Again, I don't think he was expected to be a factor in their pitching plans this weekend anyway. He had not pitched. I don't think he might have pitched in the SEC tournament, but if he did, he hadn't pitched
throw him
since.
out for one of those Vanderbilt games in the SEC tournament just to see how he would go.
Yeah, but so yeah, tough. Again, as you mentioned at the end of the first hour, Blaine, folks are being asked to do some things that take a toll.
Well, you talked about, this tournament being wide open, and I think Tony Vitello said it himself. We haven't been number 1 all year long. So that, gives way to believe that there's a number 1 that can take down number 1.
They're certainly going to be tested. Again, right out of the box by Florida State. So it's I think it's going to be a fun tournament. Again, you've got a team that's never been there before in Kentucky. You've got some teams, and again, Ryan touched on a lot of this yesterday. You've got some teams that have been there but haven't been able to close the deal. Virginia won a national championship in 2015 when they beat Vanderbilt. Florida has won a national championship, and those may be the only 2 in the field that have won College World Series championships. And again, Tennessee, the national number 1 seed, no one has gained that notoriety and won the College World Series since the first year they went to this format in 1999 when Miami of Florida did it. So the Vols have got their challenges, both historically and just on the field. So we'll be watching for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess Blaine, not necessarily a disappointment, but a little bit of a shock. You covered Chase Burns, I guess, in high school?
I did not. I was a little after Chase Burns. Our former coworker Zach Womble had the pleasure of covering him throughout his career up until 2021, I think.
Yeah. transferred over to Wake. They were expected to be a factor in the postseason, went 2-out in the
Yeah.
Greenville Regional over at East Carolina. I think a lot of folks were kind of anticipating potentially a Tennessee Wake Forest super regional matchup. Didn't quite come about, and might be just as well, because that was a really good team. That Wake Forest team was. Who do you like? What are your thoughts as
You
you look
know,
at this?
my thoughts. I know I joked Anchor down earlier. I was really hoping for Evansville to make it to the College World Series. I'll lead off there. The Purple Aces were America's team for all of 24 hours, and that was my hope in this field. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. NC State back in 2020 had the chance to go, and then got hit with that COVID outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the regional or the super regional, I want to say?
I don't
I don't
remember all
remember
the details
exactly,
of
but
that, but it was really ugly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that fires them up all that much. I mean, to now be in a position to win the whole thing after maybe, the fans feel slighted a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Kentucky's got a great team. It's all about if they can capitalize on making it there for the first time, though.
Yeah, and I think being there for the first time I get the feeling that Omaha is one of those situations, and I know it's college and the kids revolve and that kind of thing, and they're in and out, but I think just from a program standpoint, there's something to be said for having been in that environment before. So I don't know how a first year program, first time program will necessarily hold up in that environment. I think it'll be interesting to watch what they do against, a North Carolina and then down the line from there. So, and again, there's always a local connection. Caden Powell,
That's
one
right.
of your guys.
Sumner County's position player of the year and football breakout player of the year, a Kentucky commitment with 2 years to go in his high school career. So
he's a sophomore. Well, just finished his sophomore year.
That's right. Hit 371 and had 30 plus touchdowns as quarterback for Beach. He's just a sophomore.
Just a sophomore. He's a sophomore. 6'4", 240.
He's a big kid. He's very, very big. And he plays a mean right field. He started a lot of games whenever he came in from Smith County. He started some games on the mound there as a pitcher. He really played more of a reliever role, late reliever this season for Beach. I don't think he made a start all season, but they really worked on him in the pen, pitching wise. But he can smack a ball pretty far.
What's he project as, a hitter or a pitcher?
Pretty sure it's an outfielder.
Okay. All right. How much of a hockey fan are you, Blaine?
Right now we've touched on the Rangers. We've made the TCU connection to Isam Mustafa. Another big fan I am of TCU and the Rangers. We can make a connection from the Stanley Cup final to both the Dallas Stars, who didn't make it to the Stanley Cup final, and the Dallas Mavericks, who were also trailing 2-0 in the NBA finals. So now we've touched on all four of my area sports teams.
Are you from Dallas?
Yeah, I don't sound like it, but I am.
I didn't realize that. So how did you? Never mind. We won't get off on that tangent at this point. But that explains a lot. Okay, so so you are just fine with the Oilers trailing 2-0 then, huh?
I don't have an issue with it now.
Florida took a 2-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Final Series with last night's 4-1 victory at home over the Edmonton Oilers. And again, as Wade and I talked about this series yesterday, there had been some conjecture on various social media platforms that maybe Florida wasn't all that impressive in their 3-0 victory to open the Stanley Cup final. Well, again, they won 4-1 last night, so they have outscored Edmonton 7-1 in 2 games on home ice thus far. And again, I don't know where the level of impressiveness comes in on this, but they're up 2-0.
That's all you need to know.
It really is. I mean, as we said yesterday, there aren't any style points to be scored at this point. It's survive and advance, and they are halfway to doing both on the biggest stage in the sport. So certainly be worth it to see where it goes from here. I guess the next game is Thursday in Edmonton. It's a 7:00 puck drop, looks like, on ABC. So as the Panthers look to further bury Blaine's hated Oilers all of a sudden. So, yeah.
The only DFW team I don't root for major sports wise, the Dallas Cowboys. Everything else I'm at least mildly a fan of.
Who is your NFL team, if not the Cowboys?
As someone who has to be a secondary contact to the great Terry McCormick, I don't have a team. I follow the league. I upheld my journalistic duties in covering the league on Titans home games, and I'm not a Titans fan. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. All right. Well, we have kind of gone past probably the point of our final break before we get to Top 5 Tuesday. So we didn't get as deep into the grab bag as we would have liked, but that leaves plenty for tomorrow. At any rate, Top 5 Tuesday brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Whatever shape it is you're in, Thalos Steel will get you in a better one. You can see his work at steelathletes.com, the website. So again, Mid-South 5 Fitness bringing you Top 5 Tuesday, and this week's Top 5 Tuesday is our top college baseball players. Blaine, the floor is yours.
You know, I don't want to say this too prematurely, but with my first overall pick, I think right now I can say Paul Skeens is a pretty good answer, pretty good choice here. Just to take right off the board and kind of craft my style of play for my team, I'm going Paul Skeens 1-1.
I like it. Certainly he was a terror in the collegiate ranks, particularly last year at LSU after transferring from Air Force. My number one, and I will warn you by saying I like two-way guys. I got the chance to see Tim Hudson in, I guess it was the 1997 SEC baseball tournament down in Columbus, Georgia, where he was the player and the pitcher of the year in the Southeastern Conference, I do believe. I think he was like 15-1 and hit 370 something playing center field for Auburn. Tim Hudson is my number one.
Guys that go both ways. I'll warn you that I go I like a speedy style of ball on the offensive side, have good pitching to back it up. So 1-2, give me George Springer. 76 stolen bases in his college career. Or at least I think his senior season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Springer, lead off.
Northeastern players played his college ball at UConn. Wasn't expecting that. Good pull. My number 2, I'm gonna stay on the two-way thing. Will become the second Southeastern Conference player ever inducted into the Professional Baseball Hall of Fame this summer. Todd Helton of Tennessee. I remember covering that 95 World Series team when he would start at first base and they would go out and have a mound conference and they'd take an extra ball to let him throw and start warming up before he came in to close. But Todd Helton, as good as he was as a professional player, obviously he was even better in the college ranks. So
we're going to continue with guys that have some speed. We're going to bolster the outfield and pick number 3 with Oregon State's Jacoby Ellsbury. Good tie-in to a story I did a couple months ago. Shameless plug here on Boston Red Sox scout John Boer, who was responsible for signing and drafting Jacoby from the Red Sox years and years and years ago. Gallatin resident who had a long standing career with the Red Sox and the Rangers and I think the Marlins as well. So be sure to check that out. Let's go Jacoby Ellsbury, number 3.
There we go. Shameless plug there. Nothing wrong with that, though. You can find that at where? Gallatin News?
Gallatin News, that's right.
Okay. All right. My number 3 pick, former Blackman forward, David Price.
Nice.
That was a fun time around here locally to cover Vanderbilt baseball, and David was as good as it got. Golden Spikes winner, among other things, during his career at Vanderbilt. Yeah, that's my number 3. And a pretty good number 3 pick, if I say so myself.
I was thinking of David was on my board here. David was on my draft board, so you're stolen from me there. I'll stick Vanderbilt, though, and draft someone my Rangers drafted a few years back. Hasn't proved it in the bigs yet, but give me Kamal Rocker.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you did that, because I was getting scared of where you were going to go from the Vanderbilt program. I would be remiss if I did not take former SEC Freshman of the Year, former SEC Player of the Year, and Centennial High School graduate Tony Kemp.
It's a speed guy I should have grabbed.
And when you kind of outlined your likes, I was really getting a little antsy there. So
speed, I like speed. I need
a little speed, a little utility. Yeah,
he can do it all. Some great defensive plays that Tony Kemp has made against my Rangers. Unfortunately, he is really man lays it out.
Yeah.
As Sumner County sports editor, I cannot. I'm gonna fill out my 3-man rotation here. We just talked about him a second ago. Future top 10 pick, maybe top 5 pick in this summer's draft. We're gonna go Chase Burns, number 5.
That's not a bad pick, especially given your Sumner County ties. Yeah, Chase is going to make a lot of money. If he's not in the top 10, he won't be far from it. So definitely keep an eye on him. My 5th and final pick is going to be possibly the best player to come out of the HBCU, historically black colleges and universities baseball ranks. Former Southern University standout Ricky Weeks, who went on to play with the Brewers, among others. But as a college guy, he was a terror and lived up to it for a while in the majors as well. So those are our top 5 college baseball players. Again, they are presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness, 2 locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Check out Thala Steele at Steel, STEEL, athletes.com. He will get you taken care of. And I believe that's going to wrap us up here on this Top 5 Tuesday afternoon on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Blaine, appreciate you.
Glad to be here, guys. Glad to have a pretty solid pitching rotation out of my my top 5 guys. You've got some big hitters, but I've got some guys that can lock them up.
You've got a nice little collection there. We will see what people think about our draftees. You can find them on Twitter at MS_sports today. Give us your thoughts. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 2:00 right here in the Lee Company studios. Thanks for joining us.